welcome to another Guys Who Wiltshire video. I'm your host Dewey. This episode of Send Forth All Legions is the Grand Army of the South. From the south of the Kingdom of Gondor, a vast army of Haradrim and savage Mahud marches to war upon the Pelennor, called to battle in the name of the Dark Lord. Under normal circumstances, skirmishes and raids between the cities and tribes of the southlands are commonplace, with numerous Haradrim and Mahud being slaughtered on a regular basis as they constantly battle over lands, riches, and to determine who is the stronger leader. However, Sauron has managed to cease these constant fights and petty squabbles, either through the promise of greater riches or the chance of glory upon the field of battle, and now the Haradrim and Mahud have united to serve the Dark Lord and march towards Gondor and war. From the land of Harad, the Serpent Lord brings his armies to the Pelennor, leading huge numbers of Haradrim warriors and Haradrim raiders into battle. At the core of Suladan's forces is his personal Serpent Guard, a group of elite and deadly warriors that coat their weapons in exotic poisons to fell their foes. The Mahud tribes have gathered together by the infamous Mummock war leader, a Mahud king of fearsome prowess. Atop his royal war Mummock, he leads the tribes and great war beasts of the far south into battle in a bid to seal his own legacy. The Grand Army of the South is an imposing force to face. The huge Mummock will cause even the most stalwart warriors to question their bravery. If the Grand Army of the South goes unchallenged, the White City shall surely fall. So, after that synopsis, we'll dive straight into the army composition, starting with all the heroes. So firstly, you have Suladan the Serpent Lord. He can take an armoured horse and a bow with poisoned arrows. You have Raza, Fang of the Serpent. You have a Haradrim King. He can take a horse, a bow with poisoned arrows, or a war spear. A Haradrim Chieftain, who can take a horse and a bow with poisoned arrows. Or you can take a Hasharin. You can take a War Mummock of Harad, who can take Gnarled Hide, a Mahud Beastmaster Chieftain, Rocks, Sigils of Defiance, Tusk Weapons, Foul Temperament, Repelling Lines, or a Haradrim Taskmaster. You can also take the Mummock War Leader, a Mahud King, who can take a War Camel, Blowpipe with Poisoned Darts, a Shield and a War Spear, a Mahud Tribesmaster, who can take a War Camel, a Blowpipe with the Poisoned Darts, a Shield and War Spear, and a War Mummock of Far Harad, who can take Gnarled Hide, Rocks, Sigils of Defiance, Tusk Weapons, Foul Temperament, and Repelling Lines. So a good mix of heroes. Moving on to the warriors, you can take Haradrim warriors, who can take a Warhorn, a banner, a bow with poison arrows, a spear. Haradrim Raider, who can take a banner, bow with poison arrows, a war spear. Serpent Guard, Serpent Riders, a Mahud warrior with a banner, blowpipe with poison darts or a spear. Mahud Raider with a banner, blowpipe with poison darts and a war spear, or a half troll with a two-handed club. So a vast array of heroes and warriors. As you'll be able to tell a little bit further on, that list kind of significantly gets smaller just by the additional rules, but on paper a good mix of heroes and warriors. Lots of different things you can do with this list, most definitely. So the additional rules. A Grand Army of the South force must either include Suladan the Serpent Lord or the Mummock War Leader. It may have both if you wish. So you're going to have a really good hero in there, definitely a hero of legend. Only Mahud hero models may lead Mahud warrior models. Kind of makes sense with their backstory and how their tribes work. That does mean Mahud heroes can lead Haradrim models, just not Haradrim heroes leading Mahud models. At least 50% of the models in your Grand Army of the South must have the Haradrim keyword, so you can't have a full Far Harad force, obviously, within this list. your force must include at least one Mummock model. That's where your selection gets very small very quickly. Definitely not a bad choice, but it does mean you get a bit smaller. So moving on to the special rules. Hail of poison arrows. The tribes of the Haradrim are known to coat the tips of their arrows with vile and exotic toxins and loose dark clouds of these lethal missiles towards the ranks of their foes in battle. The Grand Army of the South Force may have 50% of its warrior models armed with bows. That's really good. It brings over the Serpent Horde army kind of bonus / list configuration. It also means that blowpipes do not count towards the bow limit, so you can have a really, really threatening force at long range and at short range. So, the making of a king. The leaders of the South will stop at nothing to further their claim to rule, challenging the generals of opposing armies to fight to the death. Your army's leader may declare a free heroic action at the start of any fight phase in which they are engaged in combat with the enemy leader. If the Mummock war leader is your leader, he may still use this ability while atop his royal war Mummock, in which case the Mummock will be affected. It is as if it had been the one to declare the heroic action. So that's heroic strikes, heroic combats, whatever you feel like calling. I'm not sure what the whether. I know they've got heroic challenge, Soledad, and I think the war leader. So that's really cool. I think the one you're probably going to use is strike. A free heroic strike is amazing. So yeah, definitely a good bonus. War beasts for the South. The sight of gigantic Mummock sends a chill down the spine of all those at Pelennor, filling their hearts with dread and doubt. All Mummock models in your force gain the Harbinger of Evil special rule. This is amazing. So when you've got a Mummock who's terrifying, who's terror causing, and the -1, it's just incredible. It gives you the extra opportunity not to get surrounded because people will be charging you less. Obviously things like bodyguard offset this, but it's definitely a really, really strong rule, especially for your war leader, who is incredible. It's just a bonus. And because of such a large size of the base, the area is much, much bigger. Warrior Pride. The Mahud are violent people, spurred on by their leaders' ferocity in battle. Mahud warrior models that are within 6 inches of a friendly Mahud hero that is engaged in combat automatically pass all courage tests they're required to make. From someone who plays Mahud, this is really cool. It's really helpful. The number of times it's got me out of a little tricky situation, or you send, say you're playing Army of the Dead, you send a tribesmaster into Aragon, then suddenly all your warriors can just hurtle in and not be worried about it at all, which is great. So onto the designer's notes. This legendary legion represents the mass of evil men from the southern lands that Sauron sent to take the city of Minas Tirith. Legions of Haradrim rode to war alongside the ferocious warriors that made up the Mahud tribes, all seeking glory and battle upon the Pelennor. Both the Haradrim and the Mahud are at constant internal war, with the tribes frequently raiding other tribes' lands, yet under the banners of their leaders they have managed to put aside their differences for a greater cause. For this reason, a Grand Army of the South Force must always contain one of these primary leaders, either the Serpent Lord Soledad or the Mummock War Leader. The Grand Army of the South has its arrival upon the Pelennor heralded by the coming of their great war beasts, the Mummock. These massive creatures are by far the most iconic parts of this army, and no force from the South is complete without one. Grand Army of the South must always include at least one mummock, either from Harad, Farharad, or the one reading by the mummock war leader himself. And with the added bonus of Harbinger of Evil, you'd never want to leave home without one or more. The or more pit is probably when you're looking at about 1,000 points. I have 3 of these. One's nearly complete, the other 2 need Howder's building, but definitely really cool. They're such an iconic model for a start from GW, being one of the largest ones they brought out at the time. I do remember it coming out and having a full double-page spread in the Lord of the Rings Collector's Guide. But yeah, it's definitely the right way and the one you want to go with. So we'll come in with Hierarchy of Heroes next. So the Hierarchy of Heroes is relatively simple for this legion. Having the stipulation you have to take Suladan or the War Leader, and you have to take a Mummock. The range of heroes suddenly becomes really, really small. So at 450 points, it's the War Leader. That's it, because if you take Suladan and you try and take a Mummock, you suddenly have no upgrades for your Mummock and no warriors in the Howder. So it's just Suladan and the Mummock and the Commander. 600, you can either have the War Leader by himself, or you can have Suladan with a Mummock Commander. That's just how it kind of falls out. Whether that Commander is a Beastmaster or a standard Mummock Chieftain, it is up to you as how you want to build your Mummock. At 750 points, I would choose the War Leader and then Suladan. You could switch other heroes in. I do think the combination of the two heroes with their heroic stats is probably the way to go. And I have had first-hand experience of talking to Harry Parkhill, listening to the Green Dragon podcast. They both have a similar idea of how you want to build your lists, which I'll come to in a bit. But I don't think, I haven't written any lists personally that I like as much without Suladan or without the War Leader. I think at 750 points you're definitely going to take the War Leader because you have to include a Mummock. He is the best Mummock. There's no doubt about it. So I'll come in next with my army lists. We'll do the standard 450, 600 and 750 points. Safe to say this legion works best at higher points. So if we dive in at 450 points, I have chosen the Mummock War Leader, 2 Haradrim warriors with bows and 3 Haradrim raiders with war spears. So a very small force. So this has 7 models in total. 3 of them are cavalry with lances. I've got the War Leader. He has automatically has gnarled hide, tusk weapons and sigils of defiance. He gives a banner effect, obviously because the Mummocks do. Got 2 bows of poison arrows. He's got 3 might with a chance to cancel the first heroic move on a 4+. He has heroic strike and heroic march. He can have 3 heroic strike, combat and challenge when engaged with the enemy leader, and there's Harbinger of Evil. So there's 7 models, but there's a lot going on. Like I say, I don't think it's necessarily competitive. The 3 Haradrim Raiders are there for objective grabbing and general harassment. You can even sacrifice them and put them in front of your Mummock, so you don't get charged, but you could charge through them. It's a tactic that I've heard of and seen quite a lot. It's a way to just keep yourself a little bit safe for like an extra turn. So we'll move on to 600 points. Warband 1 is Suladan with an armoured horse. He has 2 Haradrim raiders with bows and war spears. I have 1 Haradrim raider with a war spear and 2 serpent riders. Warband 2 is a Mummock with the Mahud Beastmaster, gnarled hide and tusk weapons upgrades. Then I have 5 Haradrim warriors with bows and 4 Mahud warriors with blowpipes. So this force has 17 models, it has 6 cavalry, 5 with lances. The only one not having a lance is Suladan. It's got a Mummock who's got gnarled hide to increase its defense, tusk weapons to increase its trample capabilities, and a Mahud Beastmaster, higher courage, a bit more might. And now the banner from Suladan, the banner effect from the Mummock. He's got 7 bows and 4 blowpipes, all with poison arrows or darts. Then I've got 5 might, heroic strike and heroic march with Suladan. Then Suladan also can get the free heroic strike combat heroic challenge when engaged with the enemy leader, and the Mummock has Harbinger. So this is similar to the previous list. You've got some cavalry to go out and grab objectives, provide a little buffer, and then you've got your Mummock to provide some ranged threat and the trample and the mass casualty capability. Having spoken to Harry Parkhill at the GT last year, he was saying that his general idea, and it's one I definitely agree with, is try and get a similar number or less models on the ground, so they have to kill everything on the ground and some guys in the Howdah, or they have to kill the Mummock. It's a surefire way that they can't just avoid the Mummock, because that's something that you definitely don't want. You don't want people just running away from them. Otherwise, your 500 point model isn't going to be doing anything. So we'll move on to 750 points. So on this one, you've got the Mummock War Leader. Atop his Royal War Mummock, you have 12 Haradrim warriors with bows, and I've got 2 Mahud raiders with war spears and blowpipes, who can deploy outside the Howdah, because that's one of the Mummock War Leader's special rules. Then I've got Suladan on an armoured horse, 4 Haradrim raiders with war spears, and 5 serpent riders. So a similar make-up to the 600 points, but this time you've got an even better Mummock, and you've got more bows. So we've got 26 models in total. Isn't that bad for 750 points? When you considering you've got a lot of cavalry and a massive war beast. You've got 12 cavalry, 11 with lances, again Suladan being the one without. You've got the war leader with gnarled hide, tusk weapons and sigils of defiance as standard. You've got the banner from Suladan, you've got the banner effect from the Mummock. You have 12 bows and 2 blowpipes with poison arrows / darts. You've got 6 might and the chance to cancel the first heroic move on a 4+ from the war leader, 2 heroic strikes, 2 heroic marches. The war leader has free heroic strike, combat or heroic challenge when engaged with the enemy leader, which is again amazing. And you've got Harbinger of Evil. So this is a really cool force, which again you can threaten certain objectives, and in recon you can threaten the board edge with your cavalry. You've got loads of bows to try and whittle down the enemy, and you've got a bit more of a punch with some Mahud raiders if you need. I like the look of this force. Like I said, I've got a war leader Mummock half built. I've nearly finished painting a load of Haradrim. So this is a force that I would like to run in a bit of a friendly situation further down the line. I think this legion's pretty cool. I think it can be competitive in certain situations. It again depends on scenario, I think, and your opposition force, but it could cause real problems for your opponent. The point in the film where all the Mummox charge is iconic, and I think if you ramped this up to 1500 points, you'd probably take 3 Mummox and some guys running around on the floor like cavalry, but generally tournaments are between the 450 and 1000 point mark. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been good fun to do. If you've got any more ideas and opinions, this is one that I think could provide lots of different scope for lists. Please let me know, drop comments below of maybe army lists you thought of. Please like the video and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.